Morning, Anna-Marie. Hi, Jethro. We'll go into that just now. Should we just wait for 1/2 a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes time, and we'll look at that. Morning, Eugene. Morning, Mr. Gerard. Just give it a couple more seconds and we can start. Okay, good morning, guys. 1/2. Okay, now is a good example for those who attend the trading room and modified their stop losses on our open trades, actually took a profit before the Japanese yen suddenly shot up, and our CAD JPY, or US dollar JPY, clearly then shot down as a result. So I sincerely hope those guys who are in those trades did as I suggested and modified the stop, so you'd have been kicked out for sure, but at least in a profit. Okay, right. So basically what happened was in Japan, they went off with a dovish stance of having virtually zero interest rates, slightly below, if anything, zero, which has been talked about for a while because of their debt problem. What they did so was they said, however, on the bond buying area, which is further increasing of the debt, they were willing to pay, from a government's perspective, a slightly higher interest rate. And that was now perceived from dovish to hawkish immediately, and interpreted by the market as good news for Japan, because they were very worried about this all-consuming debt they had got and their reluctance to increase interest rates. But they've done that through a bond buying area. So they're saying, right, we'll borrow some more money, mate. We'll pay a bit extra for it in a simplified, roundabout way. Some of the increases are, quite frankly, a bit on the complicated side. So just leave it as that. That was the reason that the world markets thought that's a positive sign. They're going to try and control that area, which I said is one of the highest GDP, if not the highest GDP debt ratio in the world. So as a result, it took off. Now, unfortunately, if you didn't realize that, it happened about 4 or 5 this morning, you're in a happy profit and then suddenly you're stopped out and slightly fed up. Hopefully the guys who did attend the trading room would have had those trades that we got out yesterday all in a profit. Okay, so we had this, the CHF JPY was slightly different. I don't want to go to JPY, you idiot, sorry. CHF JPY, US dollar JPY, the CAD JPY, you should all have been out in a profit. 5 o'clock it was, yeah. All should have been out in a profit, and I hope you all did adjust and did just that. Shows the benefit of the trading room. I felt I made a little bit of a remiss. I forgot to actually post that on my WhatsApp, suggest modify the stop. Other stuff came up, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Looking back, maybe I should have remembered to do that. But so some guys wouldn't have done that and probably would have been stopped out. I'll try and remember in future, we've got other stuff to do. But the point is, those who took the trouble to come to the trading room should have been saying, I've got a profit on those 3 trades, where a lot of other guys, unfortunately, been knocked out badly. Okay, right, so I hope we're all clear on that one. Yeah, well, you want to know that. Always in hindsight, Jethro. If only I bought those lottery tickets before the lottery numbers came out, I'd be smiling, but I didn't know at the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's if only is the big word. Okay, right, so that's where it is on those 3. So I'm going to put ticks on them because they did actually hit a profit for those guys who did as was suggested. Okay, so that's fine. We maybe look at them just now to see if we can get another view on it. I think maybe wait a little bit for the dust to settle, but we'll have a look at them just now and see if we can pick up a couple of bargains there. Got it on the, as you can see there. We might get a couple of bargains. Some guys would have, high-speed traders, the buy stop, sell stop would have been big winners on that move, and they'll probably be taking a bit of profit. So we might get a bit of a bounce. We'll look at just now. It's not a rushing bounce, so we don't have to rush on it. Not going to be missing out. We'll have a look at it just now. Dollar ZAR, disappointing. It was doing so nicely. It came off. I don't know if anybody was stopped out, hopefully in a profit, because they did that. If they didn't, where do we enter? 25. Yeah, it came off a bit. You should still be in. The stop was way below if it didn't adjust. I was still waiting for another big move up. Clearly, it didn't happen. A bit of a dollar moving down, a bit of weakness below 104. It's popped up again now. So maybe we should get some more movement up. It helped a bit of strength because Ramaphosa is actually still in there, but that's old news. We know that. So if you're stopped out, it should in theory be a profit. If you're not, it actually, funny enough, is in. Might have given you a bit of a scare earlier on, but we are in a profit now if you're still in it. Again, I have to say I'm going to stick with the strategy yesterday. Leave the stop where it is and be a bit patient. And I think dollar strength might creep in, but I think overall round weakness is still the name of the game, so we might get another move up, etc. So we'll stick with that. It's in a bit of a profit. The one that was the standout one was the GBP CHF, which gives us a bit of jip. It's playing around, a couple of pips in profit, a couple of pips down and a lot down and quite a bit. We stuck with it. Here's a question of sticking with it, and look what happened. In fact, at one stage, it even went down to 1.2330 odd. What a pleasure. We entered at 1.1347, so over 100 pips in profit one stage. Anyway, never mind what happened, what it bottomed, we can't pick them, but what we do know is we're in a profit at the moment, and call that 25 and 47 is 72, is that right? 47, 72, yeah. So about, call it 70 odd pips in profit. Again, I stress, you know how the fundamentals are affecting our markets. Rather be stopped out with 10 profit than trying to hang on for 100 and then you take a loss. So I suggest again, if you haven't already had it, modify the stop. We can make it 1.1347 entry. I think you make it 1.1310, 1.1310. It's just above the round figure. You've got therefore just over 35 pips profit sitting there, whatever happens. At the moment, you're nicely in profit, 70 odd pips. Let's see if we can get a bit more down movement. Let's have a look at the shorter term charts, see what's happening there. A little bit, but the sellers are coming in, as you can see. Let's go to the hourly. Yep, went out in the hourly, sellers are coming in, so we might squeeze a bit more out of that. So remember, hold on to your blues and get rid of your reds, not the other way around. Okay, I'll look at the chat line in a minute. So I'm just thinking as we speak there. So yeah, we should hopefully get a bit more coming in. Just make sure there's nothing in the way on the weekly. It's a little bit of support there, but if the sellers are coming in, it bounces up. So you might get some more movement down. Remember, the Swiss franc is still strong. It wasn't the Swiss franc that weakened. It was the Japanese yen that strengthened. That the other side of the seesaw. Remember that. But the pound ain't the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc is still the stable, strong one. And so hopefully we'll get a bit more downside. But if we don't, we'll be stopped out the profit. That's the bottom line. So the trades we got out so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right, the 5 we got out yesterday. All of them except the dollar rand are now in a profit. Well, the dollar rand's in a profit. We haven't modified the stop yet to protect unless you're already out of it. But it is in a profit, but we leave the stop as it is, only a little bit at the moment, see how it works out. But the others, if you move the stop as mentioned, and look at the little tick there, that will be now a profitable trade. Might not hit the TP, it might only be maybe 35 pips, but it's still a profitable trade. So hope we're all jacked up on that one. Right, just want to look to see on the chat line here what's happening here. Okay, let's just check, see what we've got to say. Close to PT, worth buy the sell. Yeah, okay, we know that. We trade the range, Roger, that's fine. Close at 2,300, make profit, perfecto. Well done, Pete. Yeah, well, clearly you're on the ball here. Well, you're obviously fast learning. You're taking interest, and for a guy who's been as short a time you've been in it, you're a step ahead of the game. No doubt about it. Well, bloody done. He's entered again now. I'm not sure which one you mean by that, but that's fair enough. We'll talk the dollar rand, but yeah, I see it there. Right, CHF JPY. Looked to be an unpleasant surprise. It's a good thing I moved to protect the profit I made, and the same with the other profits. Good morning, everyone. Well done, Coyote. See the minister coming here into the trading room. A lot of guys are crying. You're not excited. You should be, because you didn't make 100, but you made 50 instead. So compare that to guys who've been knocked out at the stop loss. That's a pretty welcome setup. So yeah, great stuff. Good morning, Shirley. All right, so there we are. Now, the next question is where to from here? Difficult. Right. Don't forget, by the way, we've got a little bit thinner trading going forward in the Christmas season. So there'll be traded there clearly, which let's bear that in mind. So I'm just looking at the today's events. If I've got that today, is this a Tuesday? Yes, it is. Coming up today, 3:30, building permits, reasonably important, not vital, but it's certainly no CPI, put it that way. And in Canada, we got retail sales coming out at 3:30. It's called the core retail. That excludes food and fuel. In other words, energy and food. That's the core. But that's coming out retail sales later on today. And tomorrow is CPI. We'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm just mentioning now CPI in Canada coming out, and some more existing home sales. So bottom line today, what's coming up later on, 3:30, is building permits, which is reasonably important, and retail sales, which is pretty important as well on the Canadian. Okay. All right, so just barely up there on the fundamental front. Remember, I'll post again. We need to know that because, as I mentioned many times, we're bouncing around far more than in the past with the fundamentals, so we need to keep an eye on it. Clear example of that yesterday, almost a caricature of how the fundamentals affect the markets, almost over the top in a way, reaction, how skittish we all are, and how modifying has protected you. It's very, very important. Okay, I'm just going to put the dollar index in again for those who need it, who haven't got it already. AUD USD. What's going to happen to the dollar at the moment? I can't give a very, very good. It's a bit iffy. It's a bit iffy. I just don't think a lot of guys out there know themselves, so we shall see. I'm guessing more than thinking, maybe slightly more than thinking than guessing. We might get a bit of dollar strength creeping in, but it's a bit iffy. Excuse me. So let's have a look at the AUD USD as mentioned. Where is it now? Where to from here? Very difficult. A little bit of COVID there in China. Remember, it affects Australia, but it's not major. Will we get a bit of a bounce there? It's in the neutral zone. It's in the iffy industry zone. Difficult to call. Remember this candle? Excuse me, glass of water there. Remember this candle is only just under 10 hours old, and already we're seeing a bit of indecision. I think Jesse just mentioned there a bit of a range trade on it. You might get a bounce up here and then take your profit, maybe sell it down again, which means a bit of US dollar strength coming in. At the moment, that's about the best I can call a bit of range trading on that. Otherwise, yeah. Then we had 5 out yesterday, and they were good thinking strategies. At the moment, it is a bit difficult to call. When you have a major upheaval like we did yesterday, it does affect world markets and makes everything a bit skittish. So, and that includes myself. Okay, so hi Clinton, yeah, good stuff. So what I do with this one, if you're a range trader, buy it, take it up and sell it on the way down. Will you be wrong and it breaks through? Well, you've got to stop to protect you and blah, blah, blah. So range trade. What's the distance between the two? It's about 80 pips. What's the stop loss? Yeah, about 40 pips stop. A range trade if you want to take it. I ain't putting it down because it's more of a strategy for everybody when I put that down. That's the guys who want to take the risk, got the money, want to take a bit of a punt on the range trade, slightly different than normal strategy. That's your choice. I'm putting out there if you want to take it or not. If it doesn't go right, will you protect it with your stop loss? But yeah, I think it might have a bit of a bounce here, and then it might come off again, depending on the dollar. There's a lot of factors there. Probably if you're not used to or whatever, that'd be prudent just to take a deep breath. We did okay yesterday. If you're bored, maybe do it on your demo or something. But okay, just a second ago, I want to attend the meeting. You've got to register yourself to say. Okay. Okay, a lot of stuff flashing on the screen there about BOJ. Like all of them, they tell me after the event, which I suppose is fair enough. But yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, but I think we all know that already. Okay. Okay. Can't say I'm actually completely, between you, me, Clinton, distraught on that one, but I hear you. You know what I mean. Okay, right, where were we? Okay, so I think it's going to be, unless you come out with something I can jump on, be honest, Clinton, everybody out there, Jethro, whatever, Farney, if we can find something great, but just be aware that it's a little bit iffy at the moment. I want to just look at gold now on that subject before we go to the indices. I'll actually do Brent first. I think it was somebody asked me this morning about Brent. My answer to that is, I don't know. What about that for an answer? I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit sideways. I don't see a decent risk reward. I think your guess is as good as mine. Will jump back to 80, 83 or come back down to 75, 76. You can look at the text, you're blue in the face. I personally think at this stage, I don't know. So I'm just putting that out there. If you do, chat with me on it. We'll put a risk reward up. We go for the trade. If no one wants to follow you. For me, I don't know, so I'm leaving it alone. Well, when I say I don't know, I mean, you never 100% know, but mine is literally 50-50 on that. And I don't think I get a risk reward anyway, so why? Remember, if you want to gamble 50-50, get in the car, go to Monty's, sit there in a nice, comfortable luxury casino, and then gamble your heart's content, and then not be too upset when you pay the house. Okay. Where were we? Gold, that's right. Okay. There are times when it's going to be, as we know, those are regular trading words, sitting on the hands might be the better option. One, right, dodging around a bit. Is there a trade there? I don't think so. I've mentioned again this morning in the strategy room, well, I think we said it might get back to 1800. It's a possibility. And if I'm right, we couldn't take a trade on it anyway. If you're not already in the market, not enough meat in the bones with all the iffiness out there to get a decent risk reward. So leave it alone. Looks like it might actually be pushing back to 1800, but then it might come off again. We did have a trade out the other day. I don't know if anyone's still in that. It doesn't matter if you are or not, because you listen to us in the trading room and you modify your stop loss, you're in the profit, whatever happens. If you're riding in the profit, whatever happens, good for you. Okay, so leave it alone for the moment. Unless you're in, you've modified, happy days. So that's another one we did okay on. Whether it gets to 1806, the actual TP, who knows, but we're in a profit because you protected. Remember, we got in at 1782, and so clearly it's up. So if you modify your stop, you might be out. I don't know, but whatever happens, you should not have taken a loss if you're a trading attendee. Yeah. Let's look at that in a moment. I'm hesitating on that. Yeah, there's a possibility, yeah. But let's just discuss it together before we get too cute. Come to that in a minute. It's not screaming along. If it is, then we'll jump it. And I'll stop immediately what I'm doing. So we'll come back in a minute. Right, the NASDAQ. Remember I mentioned yesterday afternoon, there's a good chance, I think 11,000 will be reached, and it's more or less where it's at the moment, plus minus 1 or 2 pips. Okay, so that's good. That did work out. Unfortunately, we didn't see a trade because the risk reward wasn't worth it. I think we discussed it was about 11,250. I can't remember exactly. 200 stop to make 200 profit. I like a 200 stop. That's my particular, because of the volatility of it. I don't like a stop close or tight on entry below 200 pips. That's why I say you need about 5K in your account, because 200 pips is about 350 rand per micro risk, which you can't handle below 5 grand. Okay, so I think we've all got that sorted in our head and understand it. So we couldn't aim at 11, but is a 250 potential profit, the 200 stop wasn't worth it. But it did end up there anyway. Some guys might have ignored me and said, stop that, I'm going for it. Well, they made a couple of bucks. Sometimes that's gut feeling. Fantastic, well done. But be careful of making that kind of thing going forward. Okay, rather have a stronger disciplined strategy before we try and get too cute. You can come back and bite. And the worst part is not just the loss of money, you're annoyed with yourself afterwards. I know, I've been there. You're really annoyed with yourself. That's the part that hurts. That's why I say you can't blame the government, you can't blame the dog, your wife, your kids, or whatever. It's your own fault, and that's tough to bear. Okay, so yeah, where to from now? I think it's going to hover a little bit, probably have a bit of a bounce up, and then maybe an opportunity to set it down again, unless some major interference comes in. Seller rally is still the name of the game. Okay, so there we are. S&P hit the target in the end, 3.8, as you can see. Don't enter it now, I might get a bounce, who knows, but hit the targets. That's another one. If it's slow it down, I've got to put a tick through it. I think I got the tick through wherever it was, but yeah, so where are we? Yeah, so that one nicely got a 40.50 and it's hit the TP. Another one for the trading on. Excellent stuff. Right, I think I've covered that little lot. If I forgot something, mentioned it. Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Jethro. I'd like to try and argue on that, but I just don't think I can. Of course, get embarrassed, but keep on embarrassing me. Thanks very much, Jethro. Pleasure. Right, now come to Christo. Dollar yen. Right. I think I mentioned a week or so ago, I can't remember when 9/11 occurred, right? And the aircraft went through the World Trade Center. Markets plummeted. It was quite extraordinary. They plummeted, and through all that fuss, it bounced off a 618 fib on the longer term Fibonacci. So even indecisive, etc., once that major movement's cooled down, people look, like you have, Christo, I look, we all look for major indicators when we can take advantage of it. That's when the technicals come in very usefully. Okay, so bottom line, I hear the chicken, but I think we might have a possibility here. How far is it down here? 50 pips. Remember, it's a weekly, this one. 50 pips. I think that is going to hold, and I think it's going to bounce. I think it's going to attract buyers, and more importantly, it's going to attract the short sellers to take their profit and get out. Remember, when you short sell, what do? You buy to exit. If you buy to exit and you get a bounce, there'll be some buyers coming in to chase it further up. I think a confirmed bounce off here, we can go against that momentary massive downtrend, which, as I said, major cause that fundamentals, not technicals, for a potential bounce. That's what I'm thinking. Can we see a fib? If it doesn't work out, we'll take it off immediately. If it does, we'll leave it cheating a little bit. Let's see what the fib says. Okay, well, it's not quite worked out as I'd hoped. I thought maybe get a 50 around about that level. No, so we'll just take it out. But yeah, there's a bit of support there. I think Vio was asking yesterday. Not there, not there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a bit there. So maybe we can get some more support here. Let's put this in here. Can you see there's a little bit of support there, and a little bit there, just below the 50-day moving average. So we might get a bounce there. If it doesn't bounce, don't do it. Don't enter now, by the way. No buyers coming here. If we don't get a bounce off the 50, we might get a bounce here, which is, let's have a look. Because remember, we're working purely technicals now, because that's all we've got to work with. The fundamentals are gone and done. So it might get a 131. I don't know. Clearly, I don't know. But I'm thinking keep an eye on it. Let's go to 15 minutes. See what I mean? See, wow, all right. 15 minutes, a couple of buyers. That's just noise, a bit of profit taking. Always been a bit of that. So there's not an overwhelming area of buyers coming in there. So yeah, I think there's a possibility, if not this morning, maybe later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning, a potential on a bounce on that one. Okay, any comments? And then if that happens, we'll turn Jethro from a chicken into a tiger. How's that? And don't say there's no tigers in Africa, because yes, there are. There's some areas actually breeding now over here. The date, yeah. What are you trying to say? Yeah, might come down a bit further, etc. It's in the sell zone. There's technical damage down on the daily. I get that. But I'm just thinking there might be a bounce here. But obviously, but I'm not sure we should jump in now. No, wait for confirm. We might get some upside. And once you're 30, 40 pips in profit, start modifying your stop. If you don't get 100 pips, you get 40, 50 out. That's a profit. That's the bottom line. I'll stick with daily. Put 20 on if you like. Stick with daily. Sorry, the 10-day one. Okay. Yeah, do you know what they say? Don't catch a falling sword. But I think we got a possibility coming in there, but this is when you got to be a little bit on the patient side. And if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm not the world's most patient. Okay, so CAD JPY, I think probably the same story there. It's so oversold now, the Canadian. We might get a possibility of some upside, even though the technical damage is done there. It's still neutral zone on the weekly. Might try fib, I don't know. There's a possibility there, but we did good last time. We might get another one. Name of the game is sitting at the moment. Might come back down. There's a bit of support there, the fib there. So it could be some more downside. Get that out of the way so we've been jumping in now. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah. There might be, is anything coming in at the moment? Not really. See what I mean? It's not really. So it could be some more downside, but whatever it is, not a trade at the moment. Let the dust settle. The old days of 3-day rule, I think change that to maybe a day or half-day rule. I don't know, but we shall see what happens. But I think it's going to be a bit of a bounce, even though there's been some technical damage. But we'll see anyway. CHFJPY. I think anything comes to the party, it'll be this one, because I still see the Swiss is stably strong and all the other currencies are quite iffy. This one is the least iffy currency of the lot. So it might be an idea to rather back this one for a bounce even more than the others. Okay. And I think there's a likelihood more on this one for a bounce. Let's see if we can get a confirmation. Let's do the weekly long term first. Yeah, it's holding there. See the support there, guys? All right, we perhaps can see it immediately, but you'll get the idea. And we'll look at it and you'll see it. Okay. Bit of bias coming in. A little bit there. No confirmation as yet. But this is the one I'd back, primary one at the moment, to try and get the bounce, to keep that a strong eye on that one. But nothing there at the moment. Okay. Okay. Can I just change the subject? Maybe don't chase the bus. A bloody stupid story, but I quite like it. There's a guy coming home from work, just misses the bus and chases after it. Just as about to, the next bus stop catch up, the bus leaves again without him. And he does it again. And every time he misses the bus till he gets home, he's sweating and soaking, etc. And the wife turns around, what have you been up to? He's been chasing after the bus, I kept missing it. But one good thing about it, I saved myself the bus fare. The wife, with all the logic in the world, turned around and says, "You fool, you should have chased after a taxi. You'd have saved even more money." Sorry, just abuses me, that story. Logic there somewhere. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's have a look at the euro. Maybe I looked at the stuff today. I couldn't find anything. Let's have a look. Euro AUD. Nah, no. Let's have a quick look. So we can just see if we can find some to pounce on. Nothing there. Euro CHF. I'm expecting some downside here. That's the one I got a strong eye on. My worry again is this indecision candle. It's 10 hours old. This candle popped up, indecision, popped down, buyers came in. You need to get a bit of a break here, but I think this one's a possibility of a short. Jethro, if Zeph was here, would say, no, I like another buy. Maybe they'd be right. We've had a fun on games on this one before. But I think there's a possibility that we might get a bit of downside here if that can get confirmed, but who knows at this stage? Nada. Okay, it's got a possibility. Euro GBP, again, too iffy. Look at that candle. Look at that candle. What's that candle tell you guys? Indecision. Goes up, sellers come in. Goes down, buyers come in. It's like getting in the car, switching it on, putting your foot in the accelerator, not letting in the clutch. Zoom, 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 but you're going nowhere. So leave it alone. That's why the candles, at a glance, can tell what the buyer and sellers are doing, or in this case, not doing. Okay. And you can put all the indicators you like on, just back up what that's happening there on the price action. Hope you all got that concept. Euro JPY. Aha, we might have something here. Right, Euro JPY has come down. See how once all the fun and games, the emotion for the sudden fundamental. Now afterwards, they start looking at technicals to get some sort of exit or entry level. The exit level for the short will be a buy order to push it up, and some buyers might look at it. Didn't quite get there, but so far. 9 pips, the nearest sodding damn it. Some of that might have spread anyway. Let's just, okay. So bottom line is this has got a possibility. Have we got a weekly problem? That's a bit of support there. 4 hour, 8 till 10. That's a 2-hour candle, remember. Popped up, not much happened. Let's look at the hourly. No, it's too much indecision out there. Here's a possibility of one, but clearly I wouldn't be jumping in now. And after quick analysis I've given you there, I would suggest you don't jump in there either, but that one's another possibility. So I'm just going to write that down, Euro JPY, what was that, CHF JPY and Euro CHF. Those are the ones to keep an eye on. Okay. Just write that down, watching. Possibility might get something out of that. Let's see. For Roger's lives, it's interesting. Anyway, no, we call missed or not. We haven't come in, obviously, but we have not come out with new trades. We just went back over the ones we already got and said the guys who stopped out the profit on the JPY ones because the fundamental S&P hit the target. The dollar car, I don't know, in the end you did modify Vuyo. If you would, you stop down the profit. If you didn't, you're still in, you're in a profit anyway. Just the other one was a GBP CHF, suggested modifying your stop loss so you can't lose. Well, in theory, you can't lose. No guarantees. Some ridiculous thing could happen. You never know. But yeah, it's still doing okay. It's come off a little bit since we last spoke, 20 minutes, half an hour ago. So if you're in that one and you're a bit late to TR and you haven't modified your stop, I suggest you do so now at 1.1310. So you're building in, we've got 47, that's 37, call it 35 pip profit, whatever happens. At the moment, 1740, what's that, 30, 77, about 80 pips or just under that in profit at the moment. Let it run further. Doesn't seem many buyers are trying to push it up, but you're protected anyway, so let that run. Everyone says that if we're going short. Yeah, but you know, that's no disrespect, doesn't really mean anything. I mean, if I'd known after what the gold price was going to be, I'd have done just that, but we didn't. We didn't know the reactions, too many unknowns. So it's like the lottery ticket. If only known that number was going to come, I'd have bought one. Well, I didn't know, that's the point. So afterwards, what you should have done is irrelevant. You know what I mean? And it can actually drive you insane thinking if only you did this and only you did that. Well, you didn't. Sorry, that's the way it is. Okay, we did it properly by saying we don't know and we adjusted accordingly. And here's a classic example yesterday of that specific strategy panning out very nicely. So the guys are crying, your guys are not crying, and you've got a profit out of it. Well, bloody done. Good stuff. Yeah, we did, but we did earlier on all the trades. Let's have a look at it. The ZAR, yeah, it's come off a little bit, but it's still not a smidgen profit. Maybe the spread's slightly, I don't know, but it did pop up and it got carried away as well with the dollar. But anyway, if you're in it, we got it at 17.25 odd, slightly in. Maybe the spread's against. Don't know if you're still in or whatever, but the point is stick with it. Okay. NZD CAD. You're looking to buy it on the 1 hour. I do my strategy on the daily. Guys on the 1 hour, I have no problem with, as long as you understand you're not a prop trader, so you've got costs involved. So to me, a 1 hour is an idea of looking for some confirmation or etc. Well, I would be a bit hesitant to doing a strategy on the 4 hour, fair enough. Daily, fair enough. I think 1 hour is a bit too short. But anyway, we're on the 1 hour as it speaks. Might get a bounce there, but look at that. The sellers came in, not much follow through. A bit of a wick there, not much follow through. So let's go to the 4 hour. Went up there, hit there on the 4 hour. That was between 4 and 8, remember? It's only 2 hours old. And it came off again indecision, came down, some buyers came in. Let's look at the daily. Well, all right, then here we're talking where we agree. It's technically speaking, it's the buy zone. We call that the golden cross. I don't think a lot of those for that, to be honest. It's such long term, so lagging, don't worry about it. More to the point is, look at that sideways motion. Canada's still a bit weak. I'm not sure it's going to continue, but at the moment, if you want to do a long on this one, a range trade, is there enough meat on the bones? 85 odd pips. Yeah, we could probably do a short-term bounce, if you like, the look of it, if you want to do it. I'm not going to put down the trading room idea, because the strategies, I prefer a proper strategy and then a quick hope for the best range trade. But if you want to do a quick range trade, you can. but I suggest you don't go much, maybe a smaller position than you normally. In other words, if you normally risk 10, maybe you risk 5 or 6 or something, up to you. But yeah, I tend to, Eugene, yeah, I tend to agree. There's a good chance of a bounce here. But yeah, see what I have to say. Okay, so we'll move on. It's all a bit volatile at the moment, my friend. GBP JPY. Remember, it's a massive economy in Japan, debt or no debt. So that sort of thing happens. You put the shivers in just about everywhere else. And that was massive. Went to reasons why, I can't bother going to all over again. So just, anyway, it's happened. So let's put in the past and move forward. GBP JPY. Well, it's taken right out from the neutral, right technical damage in the sell zone. Is that going to be maintained? It's come down. Look at that massive movement down. It's still sort of halted at a bit of resistance there on the technical. Remember I mentioned the fundamentals do its stuff, and then when to exit when all the other stuff comes in, guys look around for technical. As you can see, a couple of buyers have come in. What do you do at the moment? Do we start buying it because it's come off so much? Or why would you? 2-hour candle, remember? It was only started at 8 o'clock this morning. Tried a bit of a bounce. That's a profit-taking bounce, and kabang, came back off again. So, yeah, I'm afraid it's going to be, after yesterday's excitement, it's going to be difficult to find a trade. I'm going to be honest with you. What, do you see a bounce from there, or to send it further down? Your guess is as good as mine at this stage, guys. What do you think, guys? Do you think a bounce from here upwards, or do you think further downside? You feel confident enough to say that, take the theory out of it and actually put real money on it either way? I'm not confident either way. Okay, you see, it might be a bounce there. Could well be a bounce there. Around figure 161. Could well be. I'd rather look at a CHF stronger than the pound if you want to do a quick bounce. But anyway. And we've already had the bounce. Remember that on the day, on the 4-hour. We had the bounce. Look at that. Didn't do much good, did it? All right, how far was it? Well, quite a big bounce. Okay. Then it came banging off again. I'm not keen at all. I'll go with you on that. I'm going to wait for confirmation. Okay, Keone, great stuff. If we don't catch you before, have a good one. Okay. Remember, tomorrow's the last day before opening up in 9th. I think it's 9th of January, the new year. So if those still with us, we'll do a sort of a Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, carry on there. But those leaving, not coming back tomorrow, well, what can I say? Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. But yeah, so there is. Good, go well, Keone, and hope you enjoy your break. Right, so yeah. Anyone want to do a trade on this one? I don't. There's my statement. Anybody out there want to do a trade on this one? Yeah, no thanks. Yeah. I say if you do, it's your choice. I'll put the risk reward up if you want, but no. And if you must sell the yen, I'd rather buy the Swissy. Will it come about? Yes, it will. But the question is, let's wait for confirmation first. Let's not preempt it. We did that the other day. I thought we'd get a bounce. When I remember maybe a month or so ago, and it went about 140 something or other, and it still kept on coming down before the bounce. So let's just wait. What will the confirmation be on this one? I'd rather do the CHF. I'd ignore that one. Do the Swiss franc instead. Confirmation there is a good question. Maybe I think to be honest, I think a 4-hour green candle. Normally maybe an hour. There's plenty of upside, so you don't have to be impatient on it to get the risk reward. Maybe at least a 4-hour candle. If I see a nice green 4-hour candle, I think we can start looking at it. But to say, it's a bit nerve-wracking at the moment. Remember, there's a lot of guys out there going on their Christmas holiday who made big bucks out of it, and saying, sod it, I'm going to go and celebrate now. And other guys didn't do so well, saying, sod the bloody market, I'm going on holiday and drown my sorrows. I think it might be a little bit thin going forward. We might get some more action later on this afternoon or going into tomorrow, we'll see. But yeah, this is where, unfortunately, the boring word patience comes in. And I totally empathize you if you're like me, not that patient, but it's costly if you do get too cute. GBP JPY, you want to go back to that? No problem. Guesswork on this one. Where you want to bounce 106.98. Well, it's the same as 161. Says where it is now. 159.60. Round about there. Yeah, see what you mean. It might come back there and bounce. We shall see. But at this stage, I haven't got a cooking clue. That's as fair an answer as you can give. Got the funds to do it. It's a bit of a range on it. Well, it's not to think of the other one, sorry. If you want to do the bounce on that, that's fair enough. Let's just go over to that one as we speak and see what we're talking about. Well, that's a neutral zone on the dollar rand. I don't see a trend reversal as such. I see this again by the pullbacks. I still see the rands in a weak trend. Look at that. Came off a bit. I think it's more dollar than anything else. A bit of fundamentals comes in there with the dollar jumping, and then a bit of Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa jumped down there. Was it whichever way around it was, or was it there? I can't remember what it was. At the moment, the overall picture for me, candles or no candles, is we are in a serious problem over here, and the rand is the weaker one. Might dance around a bit on profit taking, shorter term movements, dollar weakness of strength, yeah. But the overall view is, to me, it's the weaker rand's the way to be. Okay. From a candle perspective, the candle on its own won't. All it's there is to give you an entry. It's not there on its own to give you a confirmed entry after you've done your due diligence on the other stuff. That's just a quick for the confirmation, like I mentioned just now, about a 4-hour candle or something like that. That's basically it. The best way to look at the candle and see what the buy sellers are doing is a strong decision, either long or short, or indecision. You can call all the names you like. There's all sorts of fancy names. Some I remember, some I've forgotten. But the bottom line is the interpretation, what it is. And the interpretation, what it is what are the buyers and selling? Are they decisive or indecisive? At the moment, I still say there's a bit of knocking around on the fundamentals, but the more decisive areas, that support areas holding, so we can see if we get the dollar strength creeping in, we should be able to recover. If you're not in, it comes off a bit more. I'm looking at a buy. If you're already in, hold it. And I think the name is the upside's the way to go. But yeah, it's nice to know all the names, but we get too bogged down how clever are all these fancy names. Bottom line is, look at that candle and tell you what the buyers and sellers are doing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, it's what the buyers and sellers are doing. You might think hamburgers are rubbish, but hang fire, if people are buying them, you buy. Well, they say follow the money. Indecision, keep the money in your pocket and wait, keep poised. Okay. And if you want to go in because you can afford it, because you're a bit bored, fair enough. And you take a small one and enjoy yourself. It's like almost a bit of a gamble. You afford a flutter at the casino job, same sort of principle. But don't go in, oh, it must go up now because of this, that, and the other, and I'm bored, and blah, 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 so I'm going to jump in. Oh, yeah. And you start drawing lines to confirm your biased narrative. That's when you often end up being disappointed. And occasionally lucky, but lucky is not a strategy. Okay. What about GBP CHF? That's doing quite well as it Yeah, it's popped up when I said that. Anyway, we're protected. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go from here, actually. Oh, yes, Microsoft. Hit our TP. Another one for the books. Remember, we got in at 262 something or other, 240 TP. Mentioned yesterday, I saw some fall off on the NAS expectation. It came to fruition. And I said modify to 244 your stop, just in case. Look at the Japanese yen, just in case. As it turned out, hit your TP. What a pleasure. I often mentioned you can modify the TP. I thought rather not this time round. Might get a bounce. Enjoy the profit. You should be out on that one. And hallelujah, hit the TP. S&P hit the TP, and this one did as well. Nice one. Yeah, well, roundabout, nothing is exact, but I just use a quick filter. If this breaks down below, we're clearly in the sell zone. At the moment, it's still a bit neutral above that's the buy zone. But don't forget, it can be over or undervalued. Look at this here, it's in the sell zone, sure, but it's undervalued, up it pops. Yeah, same thing that's above here, and it comes on down. But this strange trade now, if anything, actually, I'm not saying you should go and do it, but I think it could be a bit of a bounce here. But maybe a bit sideways and a bit of a bounce. But if it breaks through the 50 in the sell zone, it's broke through that support resistance area here, and we sell it down again, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, Jethro, cool. The weather's nice. Of course, it would be. Where are we now? December, of course, it'd be nice to get reliable weather. One thing about Cape Town in summer, it's pretty reliable weather normally. So good luck. Just go for it. Is Sandy Bay still going, by the way? I know there's the bay itself, but I mean, remember that nudist beach, Sandy Bay? That's still going. Do you guys have heard of Sandy Bay? Most South Africans have. Always amused me, going way back now, when it was illegal to go on the beach naked. So it had to be 2Ks. You had to walk back 2Ks off the beaten track to get there. We've all been naughty boys and been there. And it was one of the things with the police is a punishment, is put them on a charge. And one of the worst punishments they could get was to go down fully clothed policemen to arrest naked people on Sandy Bay. So they used to use that as a form of discipline. If you don't do as you're told, we're putting you on Sandy Bay duty. Because the embarrassment of running after fully clothed policemen, naked people running around, always amused me with that. I think there's a bit of truth in that as well. I don't think there's much necessity now, is there? Really, it's not a big deal. I remember going back where we used to have stars on the and bikinis and Scope magazine and things like that. But now it's all quite changed, put it that way. I won't go into too much detail, so I don't think quite the thrill of being a naughty boy is there anymore. Quite amazing, eh? Just off the subject a bit. In Victorian times, remember all the women wear these long dresses, and you used to have these pavements. Thickness. A lot of guys, it's back to set pathetic, would wait for the women to step off the pavement to get a glance at their ankle. That was a bit of a thrill because it's so like Victorian. So now I wonder what those guys will think today, eh? That's true, by the way. We got that down, is it? No, we haven't. ADJPY. Looking hopeful there, Brady. I think we're grassy, but you might be all right. So look at it. Indecision over 2 hours, 20 minutes. First thing said to me. Indecision on the hour. That's only 20 minutes old. Popped up. Sellers came in, popped down. Indecision on the hourly. 15 minutes. Indecision on the 15 minutes. Leave it alone. You see where I'm coming from? Fishing for a trade. You are indeed. I like that. You're fishing for a trade. Go and catch some real fish instead, because that might be catching a white shark if you try and grab one now. I'm pushing my metaphors a bit to see my point. So yeah, what's the time? 20 past 10. If you like, we can discuss stuff. Like I asked a couple of questions. Any newer guys in here? A bit confused on stuff. You all got the position size calculator. You've all got those DXY and economic calendar. Copy and post. If you missed it, I'll do it again. Anything you'd like to ask on the basic stuff? You know how to look at the contract value. Left click, right click. Left click on specification. Contract value is 100. I forgot to ask this morning what the hell a half means. Yeah, I forgot to ask. Sorry, I written down. Forgot. But anyway, till I know, it hasn't really affected me so far. But the contract size is 100. So one contract, 1.0 is 100 times the Brent price. I've got the AUD up. The Brent's about $80. So it's about $8,000 contract. So now you know. And it gives you the margin down there. Divide that figure into 100 and give you a leverage. So none of them really 500 and 100 to 1. You might find one, but the majority are not. So you only have the leverage on a particular one. Divide that into 100 and it'll give you a leverage. And you all know what leverage is, you know, margin, deposit, what it means. Contract size is 100. So therefore, you know. So you go 1.0, your exposure is on Brent is about 8,000, not bad, yeah, just under, okay. We'll call it $80, yeah. It's 8,000 US dollars is your exposure, and your deposit or margin clearly tells you what it is, and that's the amount that comes out of your account. It's all very well having a $50, a 100 or a 200 or 500 leverage or whatever. That's not the main issue. The main issue is to make sure you've got your calculator and look at where the stop is TP, use the calculator to say, what am I prepared to risk on that trade? If it's 300 Rand, whereas 100 to 1 or 500 or 200 1 is not really the issue. 300 Rand is the issue. And want guys, especially newer guys, to realize increasing the leverage because you've got a small account is not really the way to go, because all it means is potentially going too big, and then you're going to get knocked out. You run out of free margin. So what happens then? Your margin called. Remember exposure, and remember the risk, and then the other stuff will look after itself. I'll tell you what the major reason why to have a high leverage account could benefit you is you got maybe a couple of 100,000 Rand tied up in fixed deposits. It won't be released for maybe a week or two. You've only got 10 grand free cash at the moment. So you want a more highly leveraged account because you can afford to take a bigger risk, because you know a couple hundred grand's coming through just now. So you can risk a margin call by going bigger, because the deposit is smaller, so you can go into bigger amounts. That's probably the major reason why you should you probably make use of a higher leveraged account. That is fair enough. But think, I've only got a grand, so I'll go to 500 to 1, which means I can go 2 or 3 instead of 1. What a pleasure. And then you overexpose, and just the noise, even if your trade is correct, will knock you out. Just bear that in mind. Does one ever modify SL above or below entry price? Well, yeah, of course, that's what we were all on about. That's what happened yesterday, Anna-Marie. We modified better. Above or below is not the issue, it's better. If you're going short, it'll be below. If you're going long, it'll be above. You're better than your entries. So if you get stopped, that's a profit. Well, there you are, Brady. That's the whole point. Means you don't have to be worried about margin. You got plenty in there because it's a low deposit. So you got more free margin because the money coming account is smaller. But that's fine as long as you understand that. Understand the fact that you're not going to overexpose. If your risk is 300 Rand, stick to it. Know what your leverage is. Well, there you are. So we'll come look at it in a moment, their knowledge. But yeah, you modify, just don't modify it away. So if you're going in at AUD and along at this price here, and your stop is, let's say, I don't know, 87.30, call it, and it starts coming off, don't modify your stop loss from 87.30 to 87 or 86 or 85. You're just increasing your red, increasing your losses. You want to be modifying to reduce risk, until eventually that's now 89.30, and your stop loss from 87.30 is now, let's say, 88.80. Then if it comes off and knocks you out, you're 50 in profit. That's what we did yesterday with the yen, 3 yen trades. So guys were knocked out on the profit. Guys didn't do that, would have hit the stop loss, hit the original stop loss, would have taken the loss. Or I'm missing the point of the question. The idea, ideally, not too quickly. If we want to chase it so quick and get it too close, is to get that SL in better than entry, so in profit. But one tends to do it too quickly because you're so scared of loss that you put it so close to do that, knocks you out and goes off into the distance and you're not on board. So you've got to be disciplined in that area. I mentioned about the dollar rand just now. I suggest leaving where it is. Where is the dollar rand now? You're in profit, going to 17.253, it's 17.303. So we're about 40, 50 pips in profit, something like that. I'm still saying hang 5. We don't want to get too close because we want to try and get another move up. I think it's imminent. We're going to take this 50-day out and we want to make sure we're on board for it. So let's see what happens. Many of you aren't, you take your profit, it's a decent profit there. If it breaks, that's where you can go in again. But the trouble with dollar rand is the cost is so high. So rather just hang 5 and it breaks through, you're on board without hoying out another 20 pips. Which, you know what I mean? The brokers will be happy if you do that, but we'll send you a Christmas card, but I don't know that's what you're after. Chef JPY, still say don't catch a falling sword. Remember that? Don't catch a falling sword. Remember, we looked at some shorter term candles on the JPY earlier on, popped up a bit, and look, on the 4 hour, even the hour, on various pair traded JPY, we saw the sellers coming back in again. So it's just a bit of sideways jumping around, but we haven't seen the change in movement yet. So it's going to happen, but wait till that happens. Too late to short it, too early to buy it. Boring, I know. Okay. Good. Okay, right. Whew. Run out of stuff to say. Anyone to add? Any questions you'd like to ask? As regards the stop loss, as Anna Marie mentioned, or anything in that line? Robots, these sort of things? Yeah, well, hang on, Marie. I'm not going to put my hand up on that one because I have a history of not being that good myself on that. So, yeah. In fact, I have to say, I think the majority of people are like that here, but not always getting it right into the stick. So, no problems there. And I mean that sincerely. Long as you ask and until you get the concept that sticks. Because that's what it's about. Understand the concept, not the parrot fashion area. Do I buy when it gets there? Well, that's easy to say. Yes, you do. Well, not necessarily. Look at that situation and get the concept behind it. And the simple concept is this: what are the buyers and sellers doing? At the moment, the sellers are in charge, not the buyers. The only time I'd say buy it now is you've got a very big account. You don't want to miss out. So you're going to take a small part of it, go in now, we'll stop down here. If it's there, well, never mind, you can handle it. If it doesn't, you're on board and you absolutely lose up. But that's very large accounts to play with. And some of them have also like covered positions and other areas where sell it short to other complicated trades backed up by call and put options and things like that. We don't have all that. But when you do have that stuff, hopefully we'll get there because then you have all these sophisticated forms of derivatives that do in the States, to a lesser extent in Europe, and we can play around. Complicated, I might add. At the moment, I'd just say, take it easy. Thank you, Philip. Yeah. Well, you'd laugh. That's what I tried to sell this. Tell guys, why pay for a robot that can't think if you're getting a free robot that can think? I happen to know the non-farms is coming up in half an hour's time. The robot doesn't know that. And the beauty is I'm free, they aren't. Nothing to remember on this subject, chatting around stuff. Quickly learn a bit of humility, the better it is. Clinton will back me up on this. It's amazing that the non-humble guy to shout the most, usually the person who's the least experienced. Yeah, if you find you want to be trained for a while, you usually find somebody who's had a bit of humility. And it usually comes and bites you just when you got 10 trades right and you think you know end of a guy, you're the best thing since sliced bread, and that's usually when it comes back and smacks you and you're all depressed. But yeah, nothing happening on any of the yen products at the moment, pairs I should say. No, see, just hang fire. So I'm glad we stuck with that strategy this morning without getting too cute. Temptation though it was. NZD-CHF. Seems good, eh? I thought it might be joining Brady in a fishing trip. Let's have a look. You might be right. Now, I see she's put up NZD-CHF no more. She didn't say would you want to buy it or sell it. We'll just look at it. It looks like a bit of a fun idea. I have a feeling you're looking maybe buying it. Oh, you're off then, Eugene. Thanks for being Roger. I have to go play Farm and Sam. Okay, fair enough. Cheers now. If you can make it, see you tomorrow. Okay, NZD. Squeaking there. Maybe Tim should come around and put some more oil on because I'm too lazy. Anyway, moving along. NZD-CHF. I presume you're looking at a buy on this one. Are you, Knowledge? And there's a good cause for it. It's not another. Yeah, I thought so. At least on the same track, I would agree on that. The buy strap and buy idea, not the sell. It's come off nicely. It's come off in the last. It's come off 28 pips in the last. What's the hour? Get more idea there. Yeah, it's come off a bit. We're getting a bit of a bounce here on the hourly. Neutral zone. Yeah, I think some potential upside, 60 pips. Where's your stop down here? About a 1 point, maybe a 1 to 1.5 risk reward ratio, with a bit of a bounce. And then on the weekly, no problems there. 4 hourly, nah, here's a problem. 4 hour, got a bit of a problem there. It might go through it, it's only 4 pips away, bit of an obstacle there. On the hourly, it's trying to break through the 10-day. How far of that one here? Only 30 pips or so, no problem. And on the 15 minutes, yeah, for a bit of support area. Put that together. Sorry, mate. No. Too many ifs and buts without a particularly large potential profit to take that kind of risk. You know, you need a decent profit to be dangling in front of you to bite on. And I don't think there's enough profit there to overcome the obstacles in between then and now and then. I do agree. Slight upside potential. Am I confident enough? Is it worth my while? I have my doubts. If you do want to, on the daily, put the stop down here, then we're looking at about, well, it's not that bad. It's not thought, actually. Hang on. Only 60 pips, so that's a different ball game. Hang on. Look like that, about 150 down there, only 60. That's not going to work. So you have to take it there. You can, yeah, you can. You can take it there if you want to buy it. I'm extremely nervous about it. But of all of them look today, I have to be honest, Knowledge, that's probably one of the better ones. That's a higher probability than the other stuff we're looking at the moment. I think that's approaching 60% probability. I prefer 65, to be honest, or better before I jump in. But I think it's approaching 58, 59, 60% probability might get a jump there, yeah. But I'm a bit nervous, so I'm going to be boring on that one. But it's one of the better ones we looked at. Thank you. Anyone want to go and say solid? I'm going to be aggressive and take one with the stop down there and take it back up here. Well, put it up if you want. Two people like it, we'll put it up. .6 around the figure. Fine risk reward, 120 bucks a micro. Out the way down there. It's below that support, and it's below this support here, and it's not too wide either. Thank you. It's about the best I've come on this morning. That's for bloody sure. let you check it out 12. I have absolutely no problem with that. I'm certainly not going to do a hard sell on that one. I'm a bit iffy as well, but it's, never mind. It's probably one of the better ones we've seen this morning. Well done. Thank you. And just remember, as it gets a bit boring, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 done very well, of which 2 of them actually hit the TP. The others all in profit. So, and the dollar rand seems to be okay at the moment. It's in the blue, even though we haven't modified it yet. Stop. That's not a bad track record. And in gold's another one. There's another one, didn't it? TP, nice profitable one. So yeah, maybe we can just take it easy for the moment. But if with all that lovely earned money, you want to spend a couple of bucks on having a go at this one for fun, shall we say? Yeah, which was one of the better ones I've seen, but still a bit nervous, to say the least. Doesn't hit me at 65.70, put it that way. Very well spotted. Out of interest, by the way, I've just looked at Oxy on the watch list there. Is anybody still in Oxy, the share? Or you're taking profit or SL or anybody still in that one? Oxy, remember? OXY dot. Okay. Did it hit you in a profit or did it hit your SL? Oh, why? It SL the profit or a loss? No, okay. Okay, so no was left in. Okay, it didn't work out. Bit surprised there because the oil did okay. But anyway, it did work out. So it is. Maybe I shouldn't ask that. Oh, then we'll just get away from that. We'll ignore that one. What's the NAS doing? Still hovering around the 11,000 mark. Nothing much happening there. I think it's a bit quiet going forward. A couple of reasonable, not big one, fundies coming out there on. See how they work out. I think it's going to be quiet going into tomorrow. And remember, I'll be around for trade ideas to be put out on the WhatsApp if I come across them. But just bear in mind, the trade will get a bit thinner going into the Christmas, New Year area when we get close to those dates. Remember, the market's got to be open because it's 3 days the maximum it can be closed. So if that were to get around the law, you go on the 4th day, open it up for half the day, very thin trading, and then go home.
Roger, on your experience, will you say the trades half around about in this couple of days before Christmas and then Christmas and New Year in between? Or what's your estimate?
I say less than half, quite thin. Remember, I'm not talking about JSC now. I'm talking about, shall we say, tech stocks and indices and currency pairs. So they're still very big. So definitely enough liquidity to be traded. But I would say probably around about the 30-35% of normal volume, that is. But don't worry about that too much because there'll still be enough. Just the bigger players might not be able to get in as easily in a very big position because there's not enough buyers and sellers of volume there to buy or sell a particular product. But for us guys, it's not a worry. There's enough liquidity there, enough volume there to get in and out. Don't worry. But it'll be a lot thinner.
Okay, thanks, Raj.
That makes sense. Sure. Right, NGAS. I'm not putting that trade down because not enough people want to do it. So, okay, move on to NGAS. God, that's flipping around. It did quite nicely the other day, back up about 6.5-ish. Now look at it. Hang on, what's going on here? Yeah, we're still winter over there. It's come off quite a bit. Technically, it's a bit of support. We are. It's not bad. We'll come to Shifty. Look, I don't think so. To be honest, I don't think so at the moment. If anything, we might look for a few buys, but I'd rather sell a rally. I don't think we're going to have many. We'll have a look in a moment. Yeah, that's a possibility on this one, actually. Yeah. Well, that's not bad. It's about 30 cents away. Actually, not a bad idea. Didn't have a wide stop. Maybe have a go at this one. 5.24. Take it up to, maybe take it up to here. That might do. 6.15. So not on very long. Maybe have a go at that in the meantime. See if we get a risk reward on that. Might be push it. We'll have a look. Yeah, got a risk reward there. What's the cost? $50 a micro. Remember, just check here. It's 1,000 if I remember rightly. Contract size 1,000. So 1.0 is a $5,050. $5,500. Sorry. So $5,500 US dollars is the exposure on 1.0 one contract. So you know, check it out. Margin's a little bit higher, but it's not a train smash. Okay, there's still plenty of leverage there. There you are, $50 a micro. That's not bad, actually. Yeah, we put that one out. Oh, hey, Clinton, oh, well done, Clinton. Yeah, I like that. And let's go to the weekly. Let's get this out of the way and zoom out a bit more. When was it last here? 27th of March. So 9 months away. Last down there. We still got a bit of winter over there. Don't know what the temperature exactly is like. So it's not exactly summer, so it's probably using it a bit. There's your daily, your 4 hour. That's too bad, eh? Have we got any buyers coming in? Not as such, so maybe we want to wait a few moments. We haven't got many buyers coming in, so maybe wait a few moments. But I see the possibility there. It might come off a bit further for a better buy. But I think we'll put the stop in there. It's not too bad. It's pretty tight anyway. Instead of 54 rand a micro, you might get 48 rand a micro. Make a lot of difference. We might want to maybe wait for a 15-minute confirmation. I don't know. But yeah, I quite like the look of that one. And it's tight TP, tight stop loss. Not a big 50 rands, not a big amount coming out. Gives everyone a chance, small as well as even the big ones.
Did they reach consensus on the price of the N-gas? I haven't read it somewhere.
What are you talking about now? What price? What's this?
They had that meeting with a maximum price that they're going forward for.
Oh, you're talking about the oil?
The gas.
Right. Yeah, that was $60. And Putin set up yours, $60. Yeah. $60 a barrel, yeah.
Okay, that was for the oil, but there was also negotiations with regard to price fix on gas.
Okay, then you know more than I do. I don't know about that. Does anyone else know about that? I don't know about that. I suppose it makes sense. It's getting the Russia, the big producer of both. In fact, the biggest natural gas reserve by far in the world. So oil probably do the same with gas. That I don't know. But that could be a reason why I get a bit of a move on the fundies there, on the price there. But yeah, once a bit of confirmation there, it's not a bad one, that one. And it's not a big outlay. Keep the boredom from the door, yeah, not bad. Okay, so we should hang 5 on this one. And maybe look at it a little bit. Well, you guys can look at it later on this afternoon and come back if it's still viable or something like that. Maybe look at it again at 4. Should we just sit tight on it at the moment? Or anyone keep say sod it? I'm going to go in now. All right, Gerard, anyone want to join him? Yeah. to try and make it 45 instead of 50 odd rand to get a bit of price on this out. You might as well, if it comes off a bit more, so be it. Tight stop. And if it goes wrong, it's not exactly going to bankrupt you, so why not? Okay, let's turn that then. Hey, got a bit of support, Mr. Kruger. Fantastico. Well, we've got a trade out there. One of my brilliant, oh, what's my idea? Oh, damn. Thanks, thanks, Clinton. Just going to write that down, excuse me. 555. And what's it? 5.24. 6.15. Uh, 55 rand. What's that in dollars? Is about what? $3, isn't it? Okay, well, Pietro's going for it. Finally, Clinton, free game. Let's see how that goes. Quite like it, actually. I wonder if I should see if the group likes it. Put it out there, just see. Give me a second. Take a long time this come on. An outside office, I quite like it and they agree, I'll post it. Yeah. Actually, I think they might be asleep now. Maybe just post it anyway, yeah. Well, guys like it, let's post it. Just give me a moment. Quickly, just a couple more moments, and I'll be right back. Just get this sorted. Okay, right. Just knock this off now. Knock this off, it's getting in the way. Okay, right, I just want to check on the dollar quickly. What's the dollar doing? coming off again, attacking 104. Yields come off a little bit, but still highish. Okay, so yeah, be careful of the other stuff. All right, any sense out of the dollar yen at the moment? Nothing much happening there. Anything happening on the Swiss one? Yeah, it looks like 143 might be holding. I think I don't want to get too cute with it as yet. They more confirmation, but I think it's a possibility we might get that today later on. We shall see. Exactly. Might fool us all and move quickly, hey. Oh yeah, NZD-CHF, is that the one? Looked at earlier on of knowledge, forgets. I'll leave it a confirmation, is that the one? You have possibility in the happening there. Seems to be coming. So anyone who wanted to take that as a bit of a range trade pop up, seems to be happening to stop down here, the TP up there. So then let's go back to it, they can do, otherwise leave it alone. Okay, NAS popped up 11,000, no surprise there, hovering. Gold, probably the same thing. That's got the 1800, there we are. So anyone still in gold, might get the TP. I think it might just reach the TP just now, 1806. So just got the TP. What a pleasure. So gold, another one hit the TP. Then it's still in there. If you aren't, well, obviously leave it alone. But yeah, it's hit the TP. I think we can see what the dollar's doing and maybe get a bit of a pullback and look at maybe a short trade later on today if we get some confirmation. But the bottom line is that gold went very nicely. Okay, right. Anything to add before we wrap it up till this afternoon?
Roger?
Yeah.
I just want to know what's the significance of the different periods of the moving averages, like the 10-day, the 20-day, the 50-day, the 200-day. Why? Because I've noticed you used all three. So why are you using three? Because I see 210. What's the significance of the different periods?
Right. Okay. Very simple to answer that. The 200 and the 10 are universally or internationally used. So because of that, they tend to be self-fulfilling. You know what I'm saying? Just get the concept out. Use the potholes. Everyone can see a big pothole on the road. You're going to stop the car. So minor one, you might miss it. So that's the reason. Why that instead of the 100-day? But 100 days used quite a lot, but nothing like as much as these two. That's why. No other big, deep reasons. The 10-day, it's my personal choice. I had to quite like it. Simple as that. You might get Jethro, who's gone surfing, he likes the 20. You might get Shirley, who likes the 15-day exponential and the 25 simple. You get Clinton, who likes the 12 and the 21, and Philip, who likes the 18 and the 35. Personal choice. I have to like that one, whether you put on or not, it's entirely up to you. But I strongly suggest you put these two on because of the reason I gave. They are because they're so widely used. Simple as that. Nothing much more.
So how is it relevant to price, the different periods, Roger? That's actually what I want to get to. How is it the different moving averages, the periods? How is that relevant to price? Because I really don't get it.
Well, the price action. We're using the daily, right? So that's a 200 daily, the 50 daily. Okay. What it is the average price smoothed out. This is a jagged edge knife. This is the smoothed average price of this particular instrument over 50 days average. This is over 200 days, right? If it's in this zone here, it's now in the buy zone. So if you want to sell it down there, it could happen to be going against the trend. If you came down here and bounced, forget the DXY, I'm talking purely technical now. You see a bounce off there in the buy zone, you buy it. If it's in the neutral, you can buy or sell. So if you want to sell it, it goes up here, comes off, and sell it down to maybe here or something like that. If it's here, it's in the sell zone. That's why I talk about technical damage. It was up there. Technical damage moved down there for various fundamental reasons. Now we're in the sell zone. So you would sell the rally. Okay. Now, if you're looking at the 4-hour chart, that figure there is different. That's 1791 on the 50. There it is 1,725, very different figure, because this is 50 times the candlestick. The candlestick is a 4-hour candlestick, so 50 times 4 hours. You can find the 200 somewhere there. It's a 200 times 4 hours. So let's say your situation there, you're on the daily, and it's now there, and it's come back here, and you want to buy it, and check the 4-hour. Let's say at a 50 running through here on the 4-hour, and a 200 running through here or some of the 4-hour, and you look at the difference, let's say it's $10, too many obstacles to go into, so you probably want to clear them both. So I'm now going to look at the 4-hour before I do anything with it. Where's a 4-hour? It's above, so that is confirmed, but it hasn't taken out. The entire candle hasn't taken this 50 out, still partly there. So it's okay, but it's still early days. You with me? Okay.
So here's my question. It's like both those candles on the 4 hours, both those averages touch that candle. What's the significance? I don't know. I just don't get it. So the 10-day, the 50-day, why can't you just use one? Why can't you just use the 50? Why can't you just use the 200 moving average? Why can't you just use the 10-day moving average?
But you can't just use the 10-day, so it's an individual choice. I use them here based on support resistance. You're in the room at the moment. You look up, that's resistance going long. You look down, that's the floor support. Okay. If you're going short, the ceiling is now the support, and the floor is the resistance. Okay. All right. Now I'm using the 50 and the 200 to see if it's in the buy, neutral, or sell zone. See what it is now? It's in the buy zone. It's opened above there, just touching it. It's in the buy zone at the moment. What will interfere with this is fundamentals, but we'll ignore that, the use of technicals. Technically, it's in the buy zone. So you want to be looking to buy the pullback, buy the retracement. Okay. And this is an area of support. So you put your stop loss below support, the room below. And then you look for a high, there's a bit of high here, and you'd aim there. So clearly, you wouldn't go for that. It's only about $4 away, and your stop here would be below that, $22. Clearly, that doesn't make sense. But if it pulls back, there's no fundamental interference to there, and it bounces, right? So then you put your stop down here, which is about $9, $10, and then you can take from there-ish up to about there, which is $20-odd, and you got your risk reward. It's a filter and support, an area of support resistance. Okay, Clinton, no problem. Does that make sense now, Shirley?
I'll eventually get it, Roger. Thank you. It doesn't make sense, but I'll eventually get it.
I've got a better idea, Shirley. Stay on with me now. Stay with me. Go to Microsoft, right? See what's happened there? Let's just go and squinch it a bit. Okay, went up there and touched that area of support resistance. Came off. Look how it bounced on that area there. So do you want to sell it now, or do you want to sell a break below there, or do you want to buy it now? If you buy it now, there's a chance it could bounce up. If you want to sell it, you wait till it breaks through to the next floor below. So this here is the 4th floor. You want to sell it, you want to break through the floor here, and then sell it near the ceiling of the 3rd floor to take it down to the floor of the 3rd floor. If this holds and bounces, then you put the stop down here and see it bounce up again. It's a filter. Have a look at it a couple of times in your own, it'll sort of fall into place. Anybody else have a problem with what I've been on about there? Can you see what I'm on about there, guys?
Thank you, Roger.
You sort of get an idea. Play around with a bit, try and see another idea. I'll tell you, come back again, see if we can find something here. Let's take one out of the blue. Let's have a look at this one. Right. Okay, let's have a look at this. Where's the 200 there? Where's the 50 there? Where's the price there? Is it the sell zone, the neutral, the buy zone? Well, obviously it's the sell zone. So it's the sell zone. Do you want to be buying it? No, you want to be selling it. All right. So when do you want to sell it right now? No, you want to sell it near the ceiling. You don't want to sell it near the floor, do you? It's all right. You can see the candle bounce as indecision. You see that immediately. So you probably do neither at the moment. But to sell this, you want to, let's say it goes back up here and comes off. That'd be a lovely sell opportunity with the sell zone, stop above there into the 5th floor, and then you take it down to the bottom of the 4th floor if you get a risk reward. Yeah, you certainly can do. We'll stick with this one. This is on the daily. Let's have a look at the weekly. See, still in the sell zone. Okay. 4 hour. Still in the sell zone. No confliction there. The 4 hour, it might be here in the buy zone, and then you'd have to leave it. It's indecision. So we're still going with the sell. 1 hour, still going with the sell. Look at the candle wick. Goes up, sellers coming in. So who's in control? The sellers are. Before we even look at the, never mind GBP CHF, just look at the technicals. Let's go to the 15 minutes. Again, it's holding there on the sell zone. So it's a sell. Then you look at the fundamentals. We know the Swiss is strong. We know the pound's a bit of a maverick, but weaker of the two currencies. So it compounds there. Make sense? So all we want to do now is we want to see where we can get an entry. We wait for a break here, set it down, or wait for a push back up. We might get another push back up here. If it does, it comes off, stop about there, TP maybe ain't down here. And then modify the stop in case it doesn't get there. With a print to practice, change your gear, my friend. You'll get the stage. You can look at some. Let's try and find something. Let's look at GBP USD. Okay. Bang. Where's it? Buy zone. What do you want to do with this one? At the moment, you want to buy the retracement. What's the problem? Look at the previous candles. Total indecision. Then we look at the dollar. Hang on, the dollar's a bit weak. The moment it continues, you'd be nervous at selling the dollar. That if you sell the dollar, if you buy the pound. But you wouldn't want to go in, even though it's in a buy level, simply because indecision. Should leave it alone. You can do that very, very quickly with a bit of practice. GBP NZD. So look at this one. Sell zone, bottom of the range. So it's risky to buy in the sell zone, even if it's the bottom of the range. So maybe be patient. Wait till it comes back here and then set it back down. What is the distance? Over 140 pips. What a pleasure. Wide enough range. So if it gets back here, comes off, you can sell it down. But I wouldn't be wanting to buy it because I don't know how much it's going to go up before it comes off again, because you're going against the trend. It's in the weaker zone. Yes, I do. To be honest, yes, I do. It's hovering like most of things this morning, to be honest. But yeah, I do. I think some dollar might come in. Fundamental might push it later on. Could be strengthening. What a pleasure. Or could weaken it and come off of it. But you got your strategy, Vuyo. If you're still in, guys, sit with it. You got your strategy. And if you get stopped out, you're fed up, but you're not broke, you got your strategy, stick with it. Might come up and down, and then hopefully go back up. So I'm going to stick with that strategy. Good example happened yesterday, the GBP CHF. Came off, stick with the strategy. You're getting fed up. No, sorry, it went up because it was short it. It went up 35 pips. Now you're getting fed up. Stick with the strategy. Now you modify. Let's look at this one again. Now you modified. So you modified your stop into profits. So whatever happens, you should be fine. And as you can see now, it's hovering a bit. Well, so most stuff this morning. But you know already, if it hits your stop, you're 35 pips in profit. And if it continues further, what a pleasure. Okay. But yeah, I'd stick with it. Stick with it. Okay, dollar rand. Okay, guys, that's 11. We'll just pass. Catch you later on this afternoon. We've got to move on, stuff to do, and take it from there. Thanks very much as always, and have a nice one. And hope we can get some action later on this afternoon and revisit the end gas. Okay, guys.